All right, slide 4 here of our tutorial. You're going to stay on slide 3 in your PowerPoint, and we're going to add a border to that text box. Most of this is review, but I think it's important. So mine isn't selected. Again, stay on slide 3. I'm going to click to select that text box, and then I'm going to go to your Format tab that opens when you select that text box. Now be careful. Notice you've got 2 different options here. You have a shape styles, all those options, and then you have word art styles. We're talking about shape styles here because it's your text box. So we wanted, it said to add a border, which is a shape outline, right? That's what it says. Let me double check. Add a border to the text box. Okay. So from here, you're going to go to shape outline. And again, it just depends on how creative you want to get. You can just do a black one if you want, or if you want to get a little more fancy with it, feel free to change the weight of it. To change the, you can do dashes and all that good stuff. Remember, when you go to dashes, you can even hit more lines here and you'll get a whole bunch of other options on that. So it's up to you. If you want to pause me and kind of make that real fun looking, go ahead and do that. After you add your border, you're going to come back here, step 2, and you are going to change the text box shape. So mine is still selected. Make sure you close out if you opened up that dashes menu or whatever on the side, go ahead and close that out. So I'm going to have this selected. Again, I'm going to go to the Format tab, and then over here where it says Edit Shape, here's where you can change the shape of that text box if you would like. Well, actually, I want you to do it just so you learn how to do these things. So I went to Edit Shape, hit Change Shape, and then here, again, some of them don't make sense to change it to that, but that doesn't look very aesthetically pleasing, but that's okay. You can do whatever you want there, and then you can resize it if you want to make it look more aesthetically pleasing. Okay, pause me now, change your shape, and then I'll see you back on the tutorial slide. All right, we are now on the at step 3 here, add a fill color to the shape. So we're going to come here. I can't believe my kids are being this well behaved. Oh, you hear my dog outside. She's not behaving herself. Okay, have it selected. We're going to come up here, and now we're still in the shape. So we're going to come up here to the fill color. And this is where we are going to select our fill color. And again, you fancy ones, those of you that are artsy, I am not. You feel free to kind of have fun with this. You can do a solid fill color. You can go to more fill colors. I'm not quite sure what this eyedropper is. And you can also do your gradient like we did before, and we can hit more gradient or whatever. So, and you could even do a texture if you would like. So go ahead now, pause me, have a little bit of fun with this, look at your different options, and then I'll see you back on the slide. Step 4 is an easy one. We're going to move slide 4 between slides 2 and 3. It's pretty easy. Come over here. Here's slide 4. You're just going to select it, click and drag and drop in between slides 2 and 3. In case you ever need to reorder your slides, that's super useful to know how to do. Step 5, we're going to add a transition to slide 1. Okay, so we're going to come up here. We're going to click on slide 1. And when you're adding a transition, it adds it to the beginning of the slide, not the end. So like when I add a transition to slide 1, that's how it's going to transition into the screen. That's not how it's going to transition from slide 1 to slide 2, if that makes sense. So if I were going to add a transition to slide 2, when I add it, that would be the transition that goes from slide 1 to slide 2, not from slide 2 to 3, if that makes sense. Okay, either way, click on slide 1. You're going to come up here to transitions, and there are a bunch here for you to choose from, and you can hit the drop down arrow here and see that there are even more for you to choose from. You can click to kind of see what each transition looks for. I just want to remind you that depending on the content of your slideshow, you got to remember that not all transitions are appropriate. So if you were doing a professional presentation on like a serious topic, you would not want to have like a fun transition like fracture there, because it's just not appropriate. So keep that in mind. For this, yeah, we're having fun, so feel free to choose any transition that you would like. 6, you are going to preview the transition. It is very important in PowerPoint that you are constantly previewing what you've done to make sure that when you or your audience watches it in slideshow mode, that it looks appropriate and everything does what you want it to do. So there's a couple ways for you to preview. If you're still on the transitions tab, you can just come over here. After you've chosen your transition, you can just come over here and hit preview, and then you'll see what that transition will look like. I also like to go into the slideshow tab and actually hit like play from the beginning, or like if I'm on a slide further on, I'll hit play from the current slide so I don't have to watch it from the beginning every time, just to make sure it looks good when it's full screen. Once you hit play from the beginning, if you're in your slideshow and you make sure it looks like you want it to look and you want to get back into the editing mode, the best way to do that is just hit your escape key in the upper left-hand corner, the ESC key. That'll get you back into editing mode pretty quickly. Okay, number 7, we're going to add transitions to the rest of the slides. In this case, let me see real quick. Transitions, when we chose one. Okay, so it's up to you. You can come over here. Actually, hang on. Okay, notice I did want to point something else out to you. When you do apply a transition, you'll see a little star appears over here. That kind of just tells you that you do have a transition on that slide. If you want, once you choose a transition, you can come over here and you can hit apply to all. So whenever you select apply to all, that basically just means you're going to apply the current slides, transition, effects, and timing settings to the entire presentation. That's kind of nice. It makes it easy so you don't have to go through and do it for each slide. Once you hit apply to all, you would see now how they all have that star under it. Basically means now you have that same transition applied to all. You don't have to hit apply to all if you don't want to today. If you want to go in for each slide and do a different transition just because it's fun, feel free to do that. All right, we are on the final step of this slide, this tutorial slide. So we're going to watch the slideshow presentation mode from beginning to end. So we're going to come up here, go ahead and click on your first slide. There's different ways you can do this. You can click this guy right here to start from the beginning. You can also come down here and click this guy right here. I just by habit, I always go to slideshow and then I hit play from the beginning. So go ahead and do that, and then you should see your first transition, and then you'll click, and that'll take you to your next slide with your next transition. Click, and then your final click for your 4 transitions. And then at this point, when you're at the end of the slide, you can click and it'll take you back into edit mode, or you can just hit that ESC escape key to get you back into that edit mode. Okay, that's it for this slide.